All right. Look, you know, I don't guess I really have any kind of opening statement. I mean, it's another good practice, I thought. And so we're getting a lot of good work done, and excited about getting down to the Dome tomorrow and practicing in the Dome and having everybody have an opportunity to see that. You know, new locker room. So it'll be a good experience tomorrow.
Where are y'all at, DA, in the installation, and kind of what are y'all working on now?
Well, everything's in. Yeah. You know, and so you have a few little tweaks and window dressings to a few little things, but for the most part, you know, everything's in, and we're working on trying to perfect, you know, what we're doing, and we're working on perfecting situational type offense, situational type defense, because though that's, you know, that's a huge important part in the game. You can have the same play call, you know, on a 1st and 10 and a 3rd and 7, but yet how you're operating might be different. You know what I mean? Just based on the situation.
Dennis, can you give an update on DeMarco Jackson?
Calf, and I don't know anything about the significance.
Yeah, Bud Means and St. Brown, they be getting, seem like a lot of reps. How do you feel about your depth at receiver?
Yeah, look, we were looking at that today. I mean, I think we've got, you know, a deep group in there, and so I think we got some tough decisions, you know, in terms of that. So it's a good problem to have.
Any update on Peyton?
No, he's dealing with a toe. I think his toe was just, you know, flared up. Same toe he had surgery on, so I think it's more of a flare up than anything else.
Dennis, when you look at the guy who just brought in.
Hey, Bobby, how you? I hadn't seen you in a long time, man.
I know. Well, the
How you doing?
The 49ers didn't show up, so I did. So yeah, but look at number 10. Well, he surely looks the part. 6'3" corner. Will we see him on Sunday? Is he?
Yeah. I would expect to see him on Sunday playing. Now, how much or when, I don't know, but I would expect to see him getting in the game. Look, he's got experience in our league. He's big. He's got a lot of length, you know, and so I think he's, you know, kind of a good guy to take a look at here at the end of training camp.
Dennis, I know you're not going to kind of tell us who, you know, what you're going to do in terms of like playing time wise for offense or defense, but where do you feel like defensively you guys are at this point right now? Are you kind of like, we're ahead of schedule, we're ready for the regular season? We're just defensively?
Yeah, look, I mean, I still think there's some things that we've got to, you know, clean up a little bit. But I feel pretty good about, you know, where we're at. I mean, I think probably the biggest thing of anything is just getting all of our guys back and healthy and ready to go. I mean, we've had a lot of guys that, you know, missed some time. So I think that's probably the biggest thing defensively. I think there's been a lot of it that's, you know, sorted out in my mind over the course of the last month. So I like where we're at defensively.
Landon Young getting some reps in left guard today. That just kind of.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's gotten some reps in there, you know, throughout the course of whether it be OTAs or training camp, and I think that's, you know, something that the more you can do, value. Can you play left and right? Can you play outside, go inside? If you're an inside player, can you also be a center? You know, so, and I think in particular when you're talking about if a guy's going to be a backup player, may or may not, but if a guy's going to be a backup player, the more versatility they have, that helps us on game day, because we were only able to, you know, dress 48 players on game day. So the more jobs you can do, the more value you bring to us on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah, well, the new kickoff rule, will that at all affect your final 53? Will it be made up maybe?
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to have some drastic effect on what we're doing, you know, on our final 53. Who plays on those units might be different than maybe what we've done in the past. And I think that still remains to be seen. You know, I think we're 2 games into a preseason, and I think we're going to see a lot of stuff different once we get to the regular season than what we're seeing right now. I mean, it's the same way offensively and defensively. You know, you're going to see some different looks. You're going to see some things that you haven't, you know, necessarily prepared for, and then you're going to have to be able to adjust. And so I think I don't think it's anything really from a roster construction standpoint, but maybe who you're using on those units might be a little different than what you've done in the past.
But it wouldn't be like maybe you keep more linebackers than DB, you know what I mean? The consistency.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that that's going to be the case, because I think, you know, each week, depending on who you're playing, you may have to. You're playing somebody and they want to go big. Well, you may have to go bigger. You playing somebody and they want to go small and faster, then you may have to have some, you know, smaller, more active players. So it's really kind of that chess match, you know, between you know, what they're wanting to do, how we're wanting to play, how they're wanting to play, and then how do we counteract what they're doing, you know. So I still think that remains to be seen. I would say the one thing that's kind of stood out to me a little bit is a couple of things. I'd say, you know, the ability of the returner to, you know, hopefully be moving forward if you're on the return team, and if you're on the kickoff team, have them moving lateral or sideways. I think that's a big deal. And I see, because of the space, I'm seeing more of a need for guys to be able to, you know, get in front and shield guys, and for guys to be able to get off of blocks. So I think both those things are important. I mean, it's not as big a space game maybe as what the previous kickoff was.
Yeah, do you notice a big difference, like when you go into the dome, like some of these younger guys just getting adjusted to the lights in there?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, anytime you go into a new environment, it's a little bit different. I would say a majority of these players that we have, not all, but a majority of them have played in some big stadiums and played under the lights and all those kinds of things, and yet there's a lot of them that haven't. So I think for some it's a bigger adjustment than others. I do like getting into the dome and having a couple of opportunities to either practice or play in a preseason game prior to playing your first regular season game in there.
You talked about the injuries a little bit on the defensive side. How are Kool-Aid and Marshawn progressing?
They're progressing. And they're going through the rehab process.
Is Sean's outlook for week 1 positive, optimistic? Or?
They're going through the rehab process. All right, thanks, guys.